We are going to start the iOS app architecture tutorial. This first video is gonna be related to the MVP pattern. Okay, MVP pattern is a very interesting one. It's very common here in London. Everywhere they use it in every single project. MVVM is related to it. So we're going to explain how the ViewModel can help us to have like cleaner view controllers. Okay, so let's see, like in a overall view, where the ViewModel sits in the app, okay, in the architecture. So here you have the view controller, and you can see in this design that the ViewModel is between the view controller and the view manager. Okay, this can give you like a little hint about what is the main task of the ViewModel. Okay, the ViewModel is there to help the view controller display the data. Okay, like we can say that the view manager grabs some data from the network, from the data store, from anywhere, and then the ViewModel helps to transform this data in something that the view controller can very easily display. Okay, in the view. Let's move on. How are we gonna see how this works? Okay, so we are gonna start with a weather app that is already done. Okay, very easy app that is doing the following thing. Okay, here you have in the left a JSON, real JSON from Open Weather Maps. Open Weather. Well, I don't remember the name exactly, but let's see later. Like, this is the JSON that contains a lot of information about the weather in a GPS coordinate. Okay, so as you can see in our UI, we only need to display some 3-4 pieces of information, but the JSON contains a lot. Okay, so what we grab from the network contains much more information than the things that we need to display, and the ViewModel is gonna help us here a lot. Okay, let's see in the next slide how it is. The ViewModel is here between the raw object, the JSON data or any other kind of data, but the raw data and the data that the UI needs. Okay, so this is gonna be like the responsibility of the ViewModel. But let's see how it works. It's more easy to understand with a real life example, and let's move on. Okay, let's start with the example and open the project. You have the repo to clone. You can go to this URL and download or clone this Git repository. This is the starting point. Okay, this is the weather app that we are going to modify. Let's see it now. I have it here open already. Let's explain a little bit the main architecture of this app. Is very simple. So we have the app delegate. That calls an app presentation manager, and the app presentation manager is just loading a view controller, the only one that we have, which is here, is initiating this view controller and just displaying it as the root view, okay, of the app. So inside the networking folder, we have all the JSON parsing, all the structs that we need to display to save the information from the network. Okay, so this is the main object that we are going to use, the weather details. Okay, this extract that contains a lot of different extracts is gonna be our main point of source of data. Okay, and the last thing that we have in the project is the view controller itself. The view controller is gonna have just the outlets. It's gonna have an instantiate method that just returns the view controller with the minimum things, and it's gonna have a method to load some weather data. Okay, here in the bottom you can see 2 helper methods. One is gonna create a background image for the view controller, depends on the temperature that we have, and another one is gonna create a background color. With the same logic. Okay, depending on the weather temperature, we are gonna put some different colors in the background. Okay, so basically what we are gonna do with the ViewModel is we are gonna simplify all these methods. Okay, because here, as you can see, we are doing a lot of stuff that It's not the responsibility of the view controller. The view controller should be something that just manage like the loading, the errors, and the data itself, but it should not do like any kind of transformation or should not play around with the strings, anything like that. Okay, so as you can see here, we have a view manager that just give us back like some weather details, which is an object with some data. And here in the view controller, we are doing a lot of stuff like unwrapping optionals and concatenating them to form some kind of a string. Then we are using these helper methods to grab some image, to grab some color. We are doing format. Sorry, we are doing some formatting with the strings. A lot of things. Okay, and even the dog is not happy with this. Okay, Max, silence. Sorry guys. So this is basically a lot of stuff that should not be here. Okay, so let's start by creating a weather view model and moving these pieces to another place. Okay, let's go to the view controllers folder. We're gonna create a new one. Okay, we're gonna call it view model, and here we are gonna create a new file. It's gonna be a suite file, and the name is gonna be weather view model, for example. Okay, here we go. So we are gonna use a struct. Usually view models are structs, okay, because we don't want to have references to them like in the form of classes. We just want to save like a snapshot of the view. So it's very common to have structs that just contain some pieces of data, and that's all. Okay, we don't need more than that. So let's create a struct weather view model. What about what we need to store here in the view model? Okay, let's go back to the view controller. I'm gonna grab all these methods here. I'm gonna copy. I'm gonna paste them here, just as a reference. Okay, just as a reference for now. So let's see one by one what we need. Okay, we are doing in the view controller. We are doing some kind of in the label of the city. We are grabbing the name and the description. Okay, so we can have this information inside one property of our view model and do all this stuff here. And then in the view controller, we just pass one property of the view model that has all this work already done. Okay, it's gonna be this kind of logic with every single property of the UI. Okay, so let's call this let label city because contains the city and the description. So city and description, and this is gonna be a string. Okay, what else do we have here? We are doing some kind of background image and background color, and for that we are using these two helper methods. Okay, so let's move these two helper methods to the view model itself, and we can delete them from the view controller. Okay, let's do this, and then what we can do is let's make them static, so we can use them in our init. Okay, so here we can delete these comments. It's complaining about the UI image. It's not recognizing it because we need to import UI kit. Okay, UI kit. Now UI image and UI color should be fine. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, then let's go back to the properties. Okay, so here we can see that we are gonna need like a background image. So let's create it in the view model. Background image, and this is gonna be an image. I'm gonna make them optional for now. And we also have a background color. Okay, so let's create it. Oh, sorry, let background color, and this is gonna be a UI color. What else do we have? We have the label temperature, sorry, that is doing some kind of formatting with the temperature and rounding it. So let's call it let temperature string. This is gonna be a string. What else do we have? Then we have this kind of URL here, which is being built with an icon. We can try, yeah, let's do an URL, straightforward. Let URL icon over the icon URL, and this is gonna be a URL, also optional. Let's move this here. Okay. So now let's create an init, okay, for this struct. Init, this is gonna be failable, and I'm gonna tell you why. View models, it's very common that they are created with objects from the network, okay, from some JSON objects that we read from the network, and sometimes you know that the JSON objects from the network, sometimes they don't have all the properties that we need. Sometimes the API changes. Sometimes there are a lot of different scenarios that we need to handle, and it's very difficult to do that. So the best option here is to do like optional init, and if everything goes well, we have a view model built. If some property fails or something like that, we are gonna return nil. Okay. In this way, our program is not crashing. So what are we going to pass to the init? We are gonna pass the same object that the view controller was getting, and this is here in this method of the view manager. The view manager is giving back a weather details object. Okay, so let's put this object here. Weather details, and this is a weather details object. And now we can just start grabbing the values that we need. Okay, so let's copy from here is the best option. The name, the description, you can do like this. Let's do it one by one. Let name, let weather, let description. This is the same, right? Yeah. Let's do it like this for now. Then we have the name, the description, then we have the temperature object, and it's gonna be here. And what else? Then we have, with the temperature, we just create the background, the image, the background color. Then we have the format, which is rounded, blah, blah, blah. And then we have the icon and the URL. Okay. So let's grab these last things. Else, if something is not there, for now, we're gonna return nil. Okay. Guard, let pam 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 pam. Okay, sorry. And now we are ready to create these properties with the things that we are unwrapping here, and we are gonna make this in the same way we were doing. Okay, so the city and description is gonna be the name concat with the description, separated by comma. Then the background image, the background color, and the temperature, they are gonna be built like this. So we can just say temperature string is gonna be this, background image is gonna be this one, and background color is gonna be this one. Instead of self, we have now private static functions, okay, in the weather view model struct. So we can call them like this, and we have already the city and description, the background image, the background color, the temperature string with the proper format, and the last thing we need is the URL. Okay, so the icon URL is gonna is gonna be exactly like this. I think we have everything there. There you go. The init is already complete. So we have everything. We can delete this code here to clean it up. Okay, looks good. So now that we have a weather view model with all the properties that the view controller is gonna need, what we are gonna do is we are gonna change how the view controller graphs the information. Okay, let's see how was done before. Here we have the load weather that has a view manager and gets this data here. Okay, so let's go to the view manager and change how we grab the data from the network. Well, from the network, this is like a fake network call, and we are gonna modify this and put the view model between the JSON data and the view controller. Okay. So let's call it get weather details view model. It's not raw data anymore. It's gonna have the same inputs, but the output, the completion block, is gonna give us a weather view model. Okay. We grab some response from the network with this example data, and now instead of returning this network object, we are gonna create the view model. Okay, and the view model is gonna be created by doing calling the init, basically weather view model with the weather details, which is the response from the network, and we call the completion block with the view model. Okay, so it's gonna complain now because we have made our init optional. Okay, and in our completion block we are not expecting anything with optional values. So we have two options here: create a view model for the cases where everything fails and return that if it's nil, or just ungrab this and create some kind of error. For this tutorial, we are gonna just assume that everything is working. Okay, and we are gonna do this force on grab that you should never do in your project. Okay, this is just for this example that I don't want to make this video very long. So you're gonna do this for now, but remember, don't do force on grabs, never in your life. The dog is gonna bark again if you do it. Okay, so let's go back to the view controller and let's change this method. Well, instead of changing it, let's create a new one: private func load view model. There you go. And we are gonna do the same. Activity indicator, view manager. Now we call the new method get weather details view model with the city ID, and now we grab a weather view model. Okay, so let's copy this and change this for view model. Okay, and now we have to assign things one by one. Let's go one by one copying, so you can see that it's exactly the same. Okay, I'm gonna copy paste so you can see that it's one to one, everything like that. So the view model dot city and name description. Then we have background color, background text, all this with the same kind of logic. Background image dot image is the view model dot background image. The content, the background color is gonna be the view model background color, and the temperature is gonna be the view model dot temperature string. And finally, well, not finally, but the last thing is the icon. Okay, so we already have all this logic in the view model itself, so the only thing we need to do is to display. That's the thing. Okay, the view controller should just display and hide things, should not be like building strings or manipulating URLs, nothing like that. So we just dispatch this method to the background because it's grabbing some image from the network. We don't want to block the main UI thread, and we already have this. So we can say this is gonna be the view model dot icon URL. Okay. With this we have the image, and then in the main thread, because we are manipulating the UI, we just display the image. Here is complaining because the URL that we have in the view model is optional again. So let's go to the view model, and then we can have some kind of URL for fallback scenarios where the URL is not the good one. For this example, again, we are gonna create we are gonna grab it, okay? Let's do that here. When we do where is it? Here. We are gonna put it as not optional, and it's fine because we have this guard and everything should be working fine. So here in the view model, in the view controller again, this icon URL is no longer optional. Should not be optional, right? Let's go again. No. Max. Sorry, dog. Hey. Be good. Be good. And yeah, let's go to the view model. Max, you are distracting me. The icon URL, and in the view controller. Why is saying this optional? Should not be optional, right? Yeah, there you go. Max! This dog. Oh my god. Okay, there you go. It was Xcode. It was Xcode complaining, okay? But it was fine. So let's see the difference, right? We have passed from all this method of log weather, manipulate data, have helper methods here in the view controller, to just this little method that is very easy to debug, and to let's call the new method here, and to change, and it's very straightforward. If some other developer is reading your code, it's very easy to just follow that. The label sheet is this, the background comes from here, and the view model contains all the information already processed, and in a clean way we have our view controller. Look, very short, very clean, very easy to read, okay? In the same way, it's very easy for us to now create example data for test cases, okay? Because we can pass to the view controller different kind of view models with different kind of information already injected, and we can test things like the background color, the background images, depending on the temperatures, in a very easy way. We don't need to mock all the data from the JSON object. That is a lot. We just need to create a view model with 5 properties, and we can play around with these 5 properties and see the results in the view controller. And we don't need to play around with all the structs that we have before, that are like 7 or 6 different objects, and we have to fill all the objects with the data that we need. In this case, we only need 5. Okay, so that's a second very good thing of the view models, is that they make our view controllers very easy to test. Okay, that's all. Guys, this is the distracting dog. Okay, Max, say hi to new developers and stop barking when you see force and grabs. Okay, so be good. Patita. Muy. That's all, guys. Hope you enjoyed the ViewModel tutorial. We will keep going on with more content, probably about view state, how to make the network calls, and all that stuff, okay?